of the news items you receive, you hear about Shell, but certainly not singled out. And it's not a reaction against Shell per se, but it's a reaction against how the people feel and how they want to be given better deal.
But then people say, you know, it looks as if it's hitting Shell more than the other oil companies, you know.
That's also arguable. It's not necessarily it's hitting Shell more than the other oil companies. I just mentioned that very many other oil companies are suffering from it, but the sheer size and spread of Shell is why you tend to that tends to play more in media space. But certainly, it's not even only the oil industry that's suffering. It requires some multi-stakeholder approach to try to address this issue, and that will come from the stakeholders in the field, the government, etc. But Shell is coming in now. It's part of what we're doing, program we're doing, focusing on education, because that elevates the thinking of the generality of the people, and that is a major contribution we feel in driving the process forward.
Okay, so what's next after the Shell Scholars Day?
After the Shell Scholars Day, we are going to the Shell Scholars Forum will then go online, and there will be more communication among the scholars and on topical issues that affects the company and also the country, of course focusing in on the education. As we said, we're launching our education strategy, which will then begin to move into the implementation phase. And within the implementation phase, we begin to see how we link continuous access to scholarship to sustain educational performance in schools, with some monitoring and some enablement to make those outcomes possible. We'll begin to see us moving into areas where we even link converging most of our initiatives around education. Our sports initiatives will be linked to education initiatives, such that there is that incentive not only to excel in sport, but also to continue to excel in education also. You see us moving into the IT space in terms of fostering collaborative learning among Nigerian universities. You see us going to partnership with credible international agencies to kind of endorse our programs and at the same time contribute to the quality of those programs in terms of maybe the things that border on growth and development that I mentioned earlier, summer school, endowment of professorial chairs, building centers of excellence in certain disciplines. So a lot more will begin to happen individually on their own. These programs have the capacity to generate the impact that we want, that will enable us to achieve our strategy of preparing Nigeria for the future. So
what's your time frame? How long are you looking to see, you know, this materialize?
We have a transition plan from the current situation to where we desired it to be over a 5-year period. So over a 5-year period, we'll begin to see outcomes becoming impacts over the period.
And then, so going forward, and back to the issue of vandalizing of pipelines and all of that. I know it's a little out of what we're discussing, but we know that a couple of times there's been force majeure imposed on some of the pipelines and the rest of it, and it's been lifted. But at what capacity are these pipelines now functioning? Are they functioning at optimal capacity, or is more work still being done on them to get them to where they ought to be?
As we speak, certain pipelines, for example, the Trans-Niger pipeline is still being worked on. The capacity at which we ought to be producing through these pipelines are such that we are not anywhere near it today. The general damage arising from the issues in the Delta is still very, very hurting. But we see we believe that educating the populace regarding the negative effects of this, beyond economic losses, into thinking about things environmental and long-term sustainability of lifestyles and livelihoods, will indeed help. And that again brings us back to our focus on education and the things we do. Now, if you look at this Shell Scholars Forum, we want to be able to put candidates out there in the open who have achieved through educational pursuits as role models, so that our people in the Delta, for example, will be looking at quality human beings who show examples of how things should be done and are indeed doing those things.
So are some of these candidates actually selected from the communities where Shell operates?
A great deal of them are, indeed. Although we have the scholarship outlook, it's national, there's quite a bit of it that is focused on the Delta. Many of the candidates my colleague mentioned earlier are indeed from the Delta.
So from what most of the names your colleague actually mentioned, as I said, are high flyers. We need to see more and more, because it's not the high flyers who cause all the trouble is the people who are in the community who feel that they are being unduly punished, so to speak, that actually need to have this reorientation, so to speak, and be integrated into this program.
We did mention that we have young generation and older generation of scholars. For example, every year now we take some 10 young people from the Delta to go do postgraduate university programs in 3 universities in the UK. These are young people. Some of them have joined Shell, some have joined some other companies. We have the Credit to Career program, where we take on children from, if you like, poor communities, hard to reach communities, and bring them and give them full scholarship and put them in private secondary schools in Port Harcourt. So we find this continuum, and clearly, therefore, it's not only the high flyers that you've heard about that are in that program.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the program. It's been quite enlightening. And just so we know, the Shell Scholars Forum will be launched in Lagos tomorrow. That's October the 31st, and all Shell scholars aged between 18 and 80, you mentioned, are eligible to enroll at the on that day or any day after.
No,
that day are continuing.
Continuing. We have the database already, but just enrollment for the forum, the formal enrollment to the forum is what is happening tomorrow.
So any other day after that?
Yeah, they continue, because we are going to launch a website in a matter of weeks where they could also enroll and be part of the online conversation.
Yes, because information is really very key in all of this, and as we know, we're trying to educate, and that's where we're going to get as much growth as we're going to get. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the program. It's been quite interesting having you on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I've been speaking with the General Manager, Sustainable Development and Community Relations of Shell, Nedo Osayende, and Bola Onolapo, the Manager, Social Performance also of Shell. And we've been looking at the Shell Scholars Day and Forum, which the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria operates in. Is going to launch tomorrow, I beg your pardon, as a platform for Nigerian beneficiaries of Shell's educational initiatives. The Shell Scholars Forum will be launched in Lagos on October the 31st, and all Shell scholars aged between 18 and 80 are eligible to enroll. Well, it seeks to guide scholars towards ethical living and mature leadership, and challenge them into transformative acts of service, as well as encourage communication between different generations of scholars. And like they mentioned, this program has been on since the 1960s, and so it's going to be a fun day. And for all of those who are actually successful, it's something to look forward to. And the Shell Scholars Forum is also going to promote networking and mentorship opportunities for young Shell scholars, and create a support system for leaders to address issues affecting education in Nigeria. Well, that's the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Harriet Agbeni.
If you want to know what's trending, or you miss your favorite live shows, you can watch it all on our YouTube channel. Simply log on to www.youtube.com/channelsweb. Scroll down to your favorite program and click play. You can also view all uploaded videos by clicking on View All. Don't forget to subscribe and get the latest videos. If they are interesting, like them and be heard. Get connected with the channel's television YouTube page. The news at your fingertips.
The Esukumba market was a focal point in the era of slave trade. It was a delivery point for slaves shipped out of the country through the point of no return, a bush track behind the market. This local market is not like others, where money is the only means of exchange for goods and services. What distinguishes this one is the act of trade by barter, a practice held in high esteem. The market also prides itself as one of the very few in Africa where barter is still observed.